Welcome back to another edition of Cajun Classic Cars TV. We were invited back to Acadiana area, Lafayette to be specific, by Jim to check out this great Studebaker Avanti. Studebaker was founded in South Bend, Indiana in 1852 by brothers John and Clement Studebaker. They built wagons, buggies, and carriages, and by the early 1900s they were producing electric and then gas-powered cars. Known for unique designs, including the low-slung 1953 coupes and the high-performance supercharged Avanti in the 1960s, which set speed records. Studebaker became a top U.S. automaker by the 1920s, but faced intense competition from the big three, Ford, GM, and Chrysler, and they ultimately ceased production in 1966, marking the end of the historic brand. But if you're into Studebakers, you can check out the Studebaker National Museum in South Bend, Indiana, which preserves its rich history. On a personal note, I love Studebaker Avantis because they remind me of a late friend who adored Avantis. That's all he ever talked about. He passed away in 2022. So when Jim invited me to check out this car, I got right in the car and said, let's go, because I wanted to honor my friend Karl Shannon. Now let's talk to Jim. Jim, tell us a little bit of background about this very unique car, man.
A friend of mine was my high school tennis coach, and he bought this car in 1964-65, and I rode in this car at that time, all right? And then, of course, life took us all in separate paths, all right? And he was living in New Orleans, and I was in Lafayette. He bought the car back. He had sold a car, and a guy in Chalmette bought it who collected cars. He bought the car back in 2020, and it only had 1,000 more miles on it. The guy didn't drive them; he just collected them.
Right.
And he bought the car back and had it, and unfortunately, it was parked at his house in New Orleans for Hurricane Katrina.
Not pretty. A lot of cars got ruined during Katrina.
Right, and this unfortunately was one of them. And eventually, we got the car here and got it restored here in Lafayette, and he's had it ever since. And then he recently passed away. And I was always involved with the car, so I wound up with the car.
So, Jim, I mean, were you a car guy before this, or just kind of into this car or whatever? I mean, did you have any other cars in the past, or this kind of ended up in your hands and you kind of are the caretaker?
Well, I wound up, I had to find the car for him because the car got sold again, and I had to chase it down. So I was involved in finding the car and then taking it apart and then having it restored, all right? Myself, it was his car and his hobby and his love, all right? And because I was so involved and intimate with the car through all of this later period, when he passed away, he left me the car.
So, Jim, we talked about Katrina doing a number on a lot of cars. So that meant this car had to get a lot of restoration. Tell us a little bit about the story of the restoration of this Avanti.
Well, when we got it back, it was in bad shape because it went through Katrina, and then it's been about 5 years in Arkansas. And we got the car back, and we proceeded to kind of begin to take it apart. And we actually have a little bottle of water that was in the tire well of the car.
I'm glad this car survived, and it's amazing when you talk about the background of it. The car was bought and sold, or whatever, 3 different times.
Right. Well, actually, it's had about 8 different owners. Now, some of them just bought it and sold it, all right? They didn't do anything with it. But it's been... But technically... He had the car, he sold it to that man, in Chalmette kept it for like 15 or 20 years and only drove it 1,000 miles. We got the car back, and it had only been 1,000 miles. It was practically brand new. Still had all the paperwork. We still have an original sticker price to put on the car, $4,500.
Anytime you got something like that at car shows, us old car guys love that kind of stuff.
Well, new guys do too. I've had a guy walk up to me and say, I'll take 3 of them.
Right, at $4,000, absolutely.
Absolutely, all right, yeah.
All day long and times 10. Well, off of camera, we were talking about that Studebaker was trying to kind of make this car a competition to the Vet, right?
That's right. In '64, I'm not sure about the Vet business, but they were both trying to beat a muscle car.
Yeah. And
this car was one, from what I understand, was one of the first commercial cars that had disc brakes. It has a roll bar built into it. All right. The radiator, you can't find it. All right. So it was a unique vehicle. All right.
So, Jim, paint original or had to be redone after Katrina?
No, it was black originally. All right. And I hate to say I don't know why he changed from black to gray, but he did, all right?
Was that a recent, I mean, how long ago did he do the paint restoration?
The whole restoration was done like in about, let's see, we're at 25, was done probably in about 2010, somewhere in there, that he did the rest. And when they did the rest, well, they took the car down all the way to the frame. And I have pictures of the frame where they went all the way down to the frame and redid the frame. Now, of course, fiberglass body, right? The whole body's fiberglass. So the body itself was undamaged, all right? But for whatever reason, which I don't know and I might investigate one day, is why he changed colors, all right? But of course, a black car is hard to maintain.
So, Jim, even though we kind of talked about Avanti, Studebaker, kind of wanting to make this a bit sporty, when I look at this car, I see kind of a lot of European styling to me. You know, I kind of see it's got some you know, kind of angles and corners and design that it's. I love the angled bumpers there. It's kind of neat.
Yeah. Oh, it's a standout car, all right, without a doubt. Especially you go back and look at cars in '64. This would have been a radical change. Let's take a look at the hood, under the hood. It has a supercharger on it. That's the first question anybody familiar with them wants to know. Is it with or without the supercharger? And it has a supercharger on the engine, all right? See, before this car, he was driving a Studebaker Hawk, all right? And there's several versions of those that were very popular sporty cars.
Jim, remind me again, what year did you officially acquire it and became the caretaker?
Just a couple of months ago, because he passed away in April. And he was 92 years old. And he was my high school tennis coach. And we were still playing tennis up until probably almost the last year of his life.
Amazing.
And that was amazing.
So what's the furthest that the car has been driven, not trailered, or that you have been in it traveling?
He drove it to Maine twice.
From Louisiana?
Louisiana. Drove it to Maine twice. And while we were in Maine one time, we went all the way up to Quebec in it. And then, well, drove back to Maine, back to Louisiana.
It is amazing.
It's been, but after that, he you know, hard road trip.
Yeah, especially in the old carbureted cars. I mean, it's great. It's fun to say you did it. But at the end of the day, there's nothing like a modern car where you could push a button and it tells you what's wrong with it.
Right. It's a whole different thing. Well, actually, it broke down on him one time somewhere in Tennessee. The water pump went out. And, you know, here you are thinking, I've got a car nobody's, you know, in some little town in Tennessee. And the guy said, oh, yeah, I got a water pump for that. And the next day they put the water pump in and he drove off.
How many miles do you put on it regularly? I mean, do you get a chance to go to any shows or anything?
No, we've really, well, he was in his 90s, all right? And what we would do is our weekly trip would be to go to the local bakery here and have Finch pastries on Saturday or Sunday morning. And that was really about all we did it, all right? Because we didn't drive it in bad weather. All right, no rain, and you know, it was he just liked to have it, and you know, he didn't go. We'd go to little car shows here and there, but that was it. Yeah, along about 2022 or something, he did a newspaper article. The local Lafayette paper did an article on him, came and took pictures, and did a story. A man driven, and of course driven was driven for his car, all right? And the whole story about he owned it, he gave it up, he got it back, it had hardly any mileage added on it, then it got flooded, then it got restored. So it's been a long story with this car. Matter of fact, all the way from 64, 65 till 26. All right, let's have a look inside and see what it looks like on the inside.
Yeah, like we were talking about outside. It's got a lot of interesting features, like interesting door locks, handles, and all that.
And floor on the floor.
Very cool. So what any particular stories about inside or anything, or just tell us about some of the buttons?
Well, I look in the back seat. I remember we drove a long distance sitting in the back seat, but you can do that when you're 17 years old, all right? Because there's not much back seat to these cars, all right? But we drove 3 people in it, went to Maine, went to Quebec, Canada in it.
Did any of the gauges or anything like that have to be redone, or those are all still the originals?
You want to see an original?
Yeah.
I got it in the shed. Come see. I mean, no, it all had to be redone. Now, we dealt with a company out of Ohio that deals in Avanti parts. So all of the parts that were put back in the car are Studebaker parts. Because a guy, John Myers, outside of Cincinnati, was the guy, and I have all the paperwork of all of the parts we bought for the car, all right? I mean, upholstery had to be redone, the whole seats had to be redone, everything had to be redone almost, all right?
AC or just vents?
No, it's AC, it's got an AC. But I mean, AC it's not what we have in AC cars now, all right? I mean, it does blow and it blows cool air, but, you know.
It's not Arctic.
Yeah.
Original radio?
No. Well, it's an Avanti radio, but it's not the original one. Everything in the car, he had the radio. I think we threw it away eventually. But this car, the flood really messed it up, all right? I mean, there's no doubt about it. You spend a week underwater, under salt water.
And whatever else chemicals were flowing around New Orleans.
I mean, oh, Lord's sakes, all right? But,
well, there's I could see the roll bar you talked about.
Yeah.
Covered with the leather there, the plastic or whatever. Yeah, that's pretty cool. They definitely were thinking sporty.
And then you can get into the trunk from the back. I don't know what the use of that is, but it's available. Crank her up and see how she runs. Is unique in that it's very thin and very big. All right. Everybody that ever gets in the car and sits in it, they go, "Ooh, that's a weird steering wheel." But that's the way the steering wheel was made. Does Corvette still make them with stick shifts?
I think everything has to be specially ordered now.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I'm thinking.
Because I'm sort of a Mustang guy, and amongst other things, and I think now you have to special order the Mustang if you wanted it with a stick.
Well, the trouble is, there's only so many people that know how to drive them, and we're dying out. Because I show my daughter-in-laws and that, and they're like, I said, you can't drive the car.
Yeah, my son one time wanted to learn in a Mustang I had, and I said, no, I like to keep my transmission, so I'm not going to probably show you in that.
Yeah, you can't drive it.
Well, she runs better than me, and me and her are the same age. She doesn't creak as much as I do.
We got to go back into the subdivision. I mean, we've driven enough.
Yeah, we'll head back home.
I'm gonna pull in. I got to go in at that angle. Now my truck is at home now.
Thanks, Jim, for inviting us to Lafayette to talk about this supercharged Studebaker Avanti. It was great to meet you and fun to check out and ride in this great car. Cajun Classic Cars TV is brought to you by Vicari Auction. Buy or sell a car with Vicari at their spring or fall auction. Check them out at vicariauction.com. And also by Wild Hog Graphics. Jason does great work with Wild Hog Graphics, as you can see in this cool custom Cajun Classic Cars TV hat. And also Goodwood Hardware and Outdoors in Baton Rouge. And from folks like you, consider donating to keep the car content coming. Go to our website at CajunClassicCarsTV.com.
Another feature of the car, it had a Studebaker transistor radio that came with the car.
It's hard for me to fathom that they perceive this or conceived it as a possible muscle car because there's a mix of sportiness and luxury at the same time when you look inside and outside of an Avanti.
That's correct. I mean, it's small back seat. It was a two-person car, all right, with a little room in the back. But Studebaker was already having problems, and they only made, I think, 4,800 of them, all right, original ones, of which this was one of the original ones, all right. Now later, somebody else came back and made Avantis, but they weren't Studebaker and they weren't originals, obviously.
Yeah, I know. I think they made those, and forgive me, car lovers, if I'm wrong on my trivia here, but I think that kind of put us into the 80s with the Avanti.
They were making them in the 80s. Yeah.
And the reason why I remember that is because I was talking to a friend of mine at a Nakata show a couple of months back, and he has a friend who has like a mid-80s, late 80s Avanti, but because a certain show they were at stopped off like at 85, he couldn't put it in. And I'm like, wait a minute, you couldn't put an Avanti into a car show? And then, of course, I realized, yeah, there was the Avanti brand by itself.
Well, when Studebaker originally made only about 4,800 of them, and then Studebaker went out of business. Yeah. And some other people bought the production line or whatever else and tried to keep it going, but it didn't work. And then they even into the 80s, they were making a few of them.
You and I were joking a little bit about the length of VIN numbers today, and I mentioned my old 57 Nash, which I think may have upwards of 5 numbers in the VIN, and you said you know this VIN number by heart.
Has 5 numbers.
Yeah.
Or 5519.
Now, of course, when you get insurance, you do something else, you start saying VIN number A23, and you're 20 minutes later, you're still... It is definitely amazing.
Because when I deal with insurance and this and that with the car, people say, can you get the VIN number? I said, yeah, you ready? And it's like, what?
Yeah. Another crazy thing, of course, there's all kind of Facebook and TikTok jokes and everything about when you go to a parts store and they start saying, what model is it? I need a piece of hose this big. And you'll go, what model? No, don't worry. Just listen to what I say. I need a 3-inch piece of hose.
Yeah. It doesn't relate to anybody else.
Exactly. All right, we'll move this and let's see.